Chicago, Illinois Police Department Underwater. Team leader, Officer James Torres.
Patrolman Casper Lahr, end of watch, September 18, 1854. Lahr became Chicago's first policeman to die in the line of duty. Lahr was an immigrant born March 8, 1820 in France. Lahr came to the United States in 1839. Lahr served on the police force for 5 years. On September 18, 1854, Lahr responded to a domestic disturbance involving an intoxicated man fighting with his elderly parents. Upon his arrival, Lahr arrested the suspect and began escorting him to the nearby police station. The suspect produced a knife and was able to overpower Lahr and stab Lahr in the ribs. Despite Lahr's injuries, Lahr was able to inflict 2 powerful blows to the suspect's head with his police baton. The suspect was knocked to the ground bleeding heavily. Lahr secured the suspect's knife and ordered people in the crowd that had gathered to prevent the suspect from escaping. September 18, 1854, Patrolman Casper Lahr died from his injuries and was buried at St. Boniface Cemetery on North Clark Street in the city of Chicago.
Detective James R. Mescal, end of watch, December 3rd, 1928. Detective Mescal was a heroic figure among the Chicago police. In 1915, he was one of the first responders at the sinking of the steamer Eastland in the Chicago River, the worst maritime disaster in American waters. On February 14, 1923, the Tribune cited him for unusual bravery when it described his fight with 3 robbery offenders. In 1825, Detective Mescal was riding in his detective patrol car when he was broadsided by a limousine driven by an intoxicated chauffeur. More than 3 years later, on December 3rd, 1928, Mescal succumbed to his injuries at the age of 39, joining the ranks of 16 other Chicago police officers who lost their lives that year. May 25th, 2006, 78 years after his death, Detective James Mescal was honored, belatedly, when his star was retired in a star case ceremony at police headquarters.
Patrol Officer Darrell C. Brandon, star number 2684, end of watch, January the 25th, 1984. Officer Brandon will forever be remembered as the first Chicago policewoman killed in the line of duty. On January the 25th, 1984, Officer Darrell Brandon was working in an undercover narcotics operation. After witnessing the offender sell 1 gram of cocaine, she announced her office as she drew her service weapon. Officer Brandon and the offender struggled for her handgun. During the struggle, a shot was fired, striking Officer Brandon, fatally wounding her. She was 35 years old. Women became police officers in the Chicago Police Department in 1913. Darrell Brandon holds the sad honor of being the first female officer killed in the 171 years of the Chicago Police Department.
Patrol Officer Donald J. Marquez, star number 8620, end of watch, Monday, March 19th, 2002, 0225 hours. Officer Marquez was serving a warrant for housing court violations on Monday, March 18th, 2002, when he was shot by the man he was trying to present with the summons. After trying to convince the offender to open his door, Officer Marquez broke it down with a sledgehammer. The offender, who was laying in wait with a gun in each hand, opened fire and struck Officer Marquez in the head, chest, and abdomen. After 10 minutes gun battle, the offender was fatally wounded. Officer Marquez succumbed to his wounds on March 19th, 2002. Officer Donald Marquez was a 20-year veteran of the Chicago Police Department. He is the 529th Chicago police officer to lose his life in the line of duty.
Today, we gather here to render honors to all fallen police officers and to never forget the sacrifice made by them and their families. The Chicago Police Honor Guard presents this flag to Mrs. Donna Marquez, President of the Chicago Police Gold Star family and brother of fallen officer Donald Marquez. Always remembered.
Ready? Hey. Over. Cut. Clear. Park.
The Chicago, Illinois Police Department